Hey, so this is day 7 after chemo. It is Thursday, April 10th, and yeah, feeling pretty good now. I had a really rough night, and I've talked a lot about feeling good, but I wanted to talk about not good too. I've mentioned I haven't slept well. I didn't actually do any videoing yesterday, just did a Facebook update because the fatigue was bad and I just haven't been sleeping well. The port, you can see there's a lot of bruising. It's uncomfortable, and also I think what's happened is I've been so scared of it. I've been hunched, and so that's causing a lot of tension in the top of my back. And also I'm tired, so I don't have a lot of energy to do things, but that means I'm laying a lot more than I usually would. So yeah, I think that's why it's uncomfortable. But last night I had a really hard time falling asleep, and I just had a really, really rough night. I think my hair is still here, as you can see. But it's really messing with me. It's strange because I have cancer, and you'd think the most concerning things would be living and going through chemo and all those things, and obviously they are, but yeah, it's weird not knowing if you're going to have hair in the morning. They say day 12 to 14 it's most likely to come out. And I'd been putting off washing my hair. I'd obviously washed my body other than my port incision, because they said to wait a week. I did shower today because I was like, it's been a week pretty much. But yesterday I just didn't want to wash my hair. I was too scared that it would come out. And it's strange because I know it's going to come out. I know that's happening. I just have to deal with it. And I have thought about should I just shave it preemptively, but I think it is important to actually experience it coming out. I will shave it once it starts coming out. I did notice in the shower it did my hair did shed more than normal, but nothing alarming at all. So maybe I'll have it for a few more days. So tomorrow is my daughter's birthday, so she turns 2. So I'm really excited about that. So her daycare, we can bring in cupcakes or some kind of, peanut-free snack for her friends to share. And then tomorrow night I have someone else working at the club so that I don't have to be there, so that we can take her to dinner, and I don't know what we're gonna do with her, but something fun. Probably see some family tomorrow and this weekend that are around. And then we've actually booked her birthday party for next weekend. It was hard. I couldn't book. We wanted to book the Family Resource Center like we did last year. And again, just the unknowing. We didn't know when it was going to be. So I couldn't book her birthday party until I knew when chemo was. And when I did, they said this weekend was already full, which I got, and they said, we do have something Easter weekend. And I thought, you know what, that actually gives me 2 full weeks of recovery. Now I feel pretty good now. I'm not worried about it. But it's nice because I didn't know. So we invited her class and some of her friends from playgroups and different things that we went to, and some of our friends. So I'm really excited about that. I may be bald by then, so that'll be weird. But I have a really cute wig, so I do have to trim it. So I haven't actually talked about my wig much yet, but there's a little bit of netting on the front, which is normal for wigs. So I do need to trim that. As well, I think I don't know, I think you get some kind of thing to go in between so it doesn't rub the netting on your skin. I don't know. I know nothing about wigs. I have never worn a wig before. So anyway, there's that. So excited about my daughter's birthday party coming up. But yeah, kind of going back to last night, I had a lot of bad dreams and just a lot of anxiety. So some anxiety just about being every time I rolled over, it's am I pulling hair out? but also just not feeling well. It's really difficult. Um, it's really difficult when going through something like this to like separate what's anxiety and what is could be a physical symptom, right? So they tell you, if you have any racing heart or anything, it could be like cardiac things, because one of the chemo medications I'm on, I think it's the E one, although I can't remember now because there's 4 and it's hard to remember. It can mess with your cardiac function, so I had to do an EKG beforehand. And so, your heart starts to race, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like pounding onto my chest. I have to call 911, and then be like, give it 2 minutes. And realize, no, I think that's actually anxiety. But it's really difficult because you don't want to not go to the hospital if you have a symptom that's worrisome, but you can't go to the hospital every time you're like, my heart's racing. So I'm finding that hard. I think I knew before really well, like what was anxiety and what was, a health symptom, but this is so different. So I had a really hard time last night and just woke up about every half hour all night. Just couldn't sleep. And at about 4:30 in the morning, I took an Ativan because I was like, I'm trying not to, like, I'm trying to deal with things without the sedation medication, although it barely does anything at a 0.5 level. But I decided it was like, no, I just need to try to relax a bit and get some sleep. And I took more Tylenol too. Because just the pain and uncomfortable. So it's like uncomfortable all through here and the same on my back. And I think it just really is like, I'm a side sleeper, and it's difficult to sleep with like a port sticking out of you. And it's just tender. I do notice it's getting better. I think the first couple days after chemo, I was just so tired. It just knocked me right out. So that wasn't as big of a problem. I was just so tired. I needed to sleep. And now just it's getting uncomfortable and it's getting old. I think that's one thing. Some of the folks I watched on YouTube talking about having chemo and having cancer that were very reassuring to me in realizing that their symptoms were not these epic, movie symptoms that you see. They were functional, but they were like, it's getting old, like. And that's kind of how I feel. It's like, okay, tomorrow will be a week, because I'm counting like day 1 is the first day of chemo. So tomorrow will be a week, and it's like, I just haven't felt myself yet. But today I kind of do, actually. I had a hard morning. I didn't get up with my daughter. My partner did, which is fine. Like, we know there's going to be days like that during chemo. And I slept in a bit, but then once I did get up and had a shower and had something to eat, and I'm starting to feel a little better now. It's a, nice sunny day, so I'm going to try to get outside and enjoy a little bit of the sun. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's been, tomorrow will be a week since chemo, and so I feel pretty good. I'm scheduled to go back to work on Tuesday, and I'm a little apprehensive, but more just because I haven't been there. So where I'm working, I have worked over 5 years out of the past like 11. So I'm working at Chapters Indigo, the bookstore, and so it's kind of funny because I kind of know it like the back of my hand because I've done it for so many years. And I had been back there since October. And the day I was told that it was most likely cancer, I went in actually immediately to my manager and was like, I can't work right now. Like, this is so life-shattering. And she's just been wonderful. And so she was like, take your time, and that's fine. When I did find out it was cancer, I actually, and I think I've mentioned this before, I did actually go back to work for 3 days. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I feel a little off, a little wild, because I was wearing a mask because I didn't know if chemo would start right away, which of course it didn't, but I didn't know that. And I was just I felt in this weird flux of being like, I have cancer, but I'm not having treatment yet, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I worked the 3 days, and then that's when I got the call about, hey, you need these scans to see if it's spread, and that broke me. And I haven't been back since then. Now, again, my managers have been just incredible and wonderful and so supportive, and been like, don't worry about work. Like, do you need to drive? Like, they've been great. But it is definitely hard because it's like I haven't been back in almost 2 months, really. But again, I've worked there 3 different times. Like, I'll be okay. And they're really great. My doctor had approved things like, if I needed a stool to sit on, even though like that did not need to be in writing, because they're great. And so I'm doing 2 10-to-4s, which means really it's only 5.25 hours, because you get partially a paid break and then an unpaid break as well. So it's only just over 5 hours on my feet. Again, they'll be incredibly supportive. And I'm not even worried as much about the, feeling this way now. I'm like, if I feel this way Thursday, Tuesday, I should be fine. But it's more just the anxiety of going back after that time and being like, well, I have hair on Tuesday. I don't know. We'll see. And there's new staff because they have hired a few new folks. And so to be like, hi, I'm new here, but not. And I have no hair. Anyway, I stopped in yesterday or the day before, anyway, walking through the mall, and some of my coworkers were asking how I was doing, and it's a very supportive workplace, so excited, but yeah, a little nervous, just feel weird going back after this weird absence. But the uncertainty part really was hard. It's funny because I've thought, like, if I couldn't work through the waiting for chemo, can I really work through chemo? And I've talked about this a lot in figuring out if I could work, and I think I can, because now at least I know what I'm doing. The really challenging part was saying, okay, you may get called for a scan today, you may not. You're tied to your phone. You don't know what's happening. You don't know when your life is going to be turned upside down. So now I have a pretty good rhythm to it. Now, it is still hard to navigate appointments. I got my work schedule, was super happy with it, and then got a call for the radiologist and was like, yep, radiologist this day, great. And then realized, was like, oh, I work that day. So I had to call the radiologist in St. John, because you have to travel to another city to go to radiology. Sorry, I had 2 hairs sitting on my leg, and that's what distracted me. I'm like, am I losing more hair? Luckily my hair is very thick, so even if I lose it, I should be good for a little bit. But anyway, yeah, so the radiation oncologist I'm supposed to see in St. John, so I had to move that date. I was like, okay, can I move that date? Because chemo is 18 weeks, and then I'll have surgery and then radiation. So I was like, it's not really delaying anything by asking to rebook. And I didn't want to mess with my work schedule since I've just gotten that sorted. So I called the radiologist and was like, hey, let's switch it. And she was like, how about the next day? And I'm like, okay, fine. We'll move it to that day, because I don't work. And that's fine. I don't work on Wednesday. My boss was great to give me Tuesday, Thursday next week to kind of give me a break in between. I was like, great, perfect. No worries. Go to St. John that day. Write it down, hang up, and then realize I had another appointment that day. And this is the hard part, right? And there's just appointments everywhere, because there's blood work and appointments with your oncologist and your radiation and your surgeon and all over. So anyway, luckily that appointment was with the psychologist. So it is very difficult to get in with a psychologist with our health authority, but apparently I have the golden ticket of having cancer. And so I have an appointment with a psychologist, which I'm looking forward to. And she was very nice. So then I called her and was like, I'm sorry, but I need to move this appointment because this just keeps happening. And she was very, very understanding. Was like, you're juggling a lot. It's okay. So I figured that out. So I think I have all my appointments spaced out now, but it is difficult. Like it fills up your schedule. And again, it's difficult because you're trying to lead a normal life and they say that's really important to try to be as normal as possible while also like just having appointments everywhere. So, when I had chemo last week, they handed me a sheet of paper that was just like, this is your blood work and your phone appointment with your oncologist. I was like, great, sounds good. And then it's like, okay, well, now I have to put that in my work schedule and make sure that I don't work during that time. So it's a lot of navigating, and yeah, it's hard, but I think it's going to be important to work a little bit during this time. One, just for financial reasons, obviously, but to have something that's not being a cancer patient is kind of important for my schedule. Anyway, I've rambled for 16 minutes, so I'm gonna stop this one and probably, but I'll talk to you again soon.